Respected judges, honorable audience, dear members of the opposition, greetings. What a joy to be standing here behind this podium to debate in the semifinals of the Eagles' Great Debate. Today, we're addressing an important problematic. We are, ladies and gentlemen, debating a hot issue of great importance and that created controversy within genders and individuals. A topic that has so many perspectives and opinions, and its results led to some big changes in some societies. Our debate is all about feminism, you know, this movement that began towards the end of the 19th century. And today, we're discussing whether feminism is a war against men. And my team and I are defending this theory, and we are willing to shed some light into the darkness and lead you to the right path with us. And because we cannot fly without wings, we cannot start this debate without defining the keywords of the motion to clarify some points and avoid some confusions or misinformation you may have. First of all, let's settle this once and for all. Many people blindly believe that the true definition of feminism is that it's a movement that aims for the social and political equality for both sexes, and it promotes equality for men and women. But that definition doesn't hold water because feminism as an ideology is based on feminist theory, which is the idea that all societal equalities are slanted in favor of men at the expense of women. But this is wrong, and my team will prove it, but feminists somehow still believe it. And my team and I will prove you this. So when I tell you the word feminism, what's the first thing you think about? It is women or something related to them. And because if we analyze feminism and analyze it further, we will find that it contains fem, which is the Latin word for woman. And if we go and search synonyms for feminism, we will find women's rights movement, women's liberation, women's suffrage, womanism, sisterhood, women's liberation movement, but not once equality. So this movement is all about propping up women at the expense of men. And in order...
please.
Yes?
So I heard you talking about how most countries aren't indeed or in fact patriarchal societies. Is it true?
What?
You said that most countries aren't patriarchal societies.
I didn't say this. I never once said that.
You said that most countries, that feminists think that most countries are patriarchal societies, and this is wrong. But according to the United Nations, 70% of the countries in those United Nations are patriarchal societies.
Actually, I don't want to anticipate, and my teammates will already planned everything, so I don't want to jump into conclusions, and my teammates will explain this in their interventions. Anyways, many people want equality, but they don't identify themselves as feminists. And I mean, as Demi Moore once said, I am a great support of women, but I have never really thought of myself as a feminist, more of a humanist, because I feel like this is what we really should be. I would say I am a feminist. After all, I do support women's rights, but I also support men's rights, and that is by definition, act and theory, not covered by feminism. Therefore, I am not a feminism because I am not going to deny that men have inequalities, men have their issues. And people who deny it are just saying this so naive. Men and women will follow them and will fight with them. And because after all, the best way to manipulate someone's brain is to make yourself a victim. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear respected judge, dear government team, good morning. Well. First, let me just take a moment to see who's here. So on my right, I can see some people who are defending our subject debate today. And on my left, I can descry others that believes in the opposite. And of course, in front of me, I can notice a bunch of students and teachers who are wondering at this moment what subject we'll be talking about during this whole debate. And what a better way to make you have an idea about this topic? Simply is by coding it. And of course, without letting slip the fact that we have to analyze it too. So the theme is, feminism is a war against men. As you can see, our today's subject debate involves women's and men's. It's about you and you or even me. It's about each one of us. It's about that mother that does the impossible just for its children's sake. The hardworking father that stays up late working just to bring his family food. Those women that without them there is no men's, and those men that without them there is no woman's. And as the philosopher Socrates said, behind every great man, a woman. But you know, our theme today is not about showing the importance of those two genders. It's about proving to the world and to each one of you that feminism didn't and will never come to fight men. Feminism came to put equality between the two genders and came to give those women their rights that were taken from them by force. And as Gloria Steinem said, feminism is recognizing the equality and full humanity of men's and women's. But before proving that, we should understand very well the topic. And as I always say, we cannot know what's inside the box without opening it. Same here, because we cannot debate a topic without defining its terms. So the first thing that we notice when we hear feminism is a war against men is feminism. And when we search about its meaning, so feminism, according to Wikipedia, is a range of political movements, ideologies, and social movements that share a common goal to define, establish, and achieve the political, personal, and social equality of genders. And according to Jump.com, feminism is simply equality. What we mean by that is it's not about that women are superior in any way, shape, or form than men. It's about that man or woman or anybody else are equal. I'm sorry. It's about that man's. I'm sorry. It's about that men's and women's or anybody else are equal. Yeah, we know that the two are biologically different and that women think with emotions and men with logic. Yeah, we know that. But that's not the point. Feminism didn't come to take the place of men. It came to give those women that rights that were taken from them by force. Rights like having a job, driving a car, or being treated fairly and not as a bird machine. And the list is so long. Now that I gave you those two definitions and explained it to you, you can notice, the audience, that there is no word war in those two. So what I deduct from that is that our dear opposition are trying to transmit to us this idea that women are nothing and that they don't have the rights to have their rights and that men are the one who should control everything. And unfortunately for those poor women, they have one job and it's giving birth, which is not the case at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I think no one would like to be treated unfairly. The same goes for men. So by saying that feminism is a range of if feminism is a war against men, you are treating yourself, your father, your mother, or even your loved one unfairly. And thank you.
What's the difference between a pencil and feminism? Well, a pencil has a point, right? And feminism doesn't. Dear feminists, and soon-to-be humanists, today I am humbly standing in front of you to debate a motion of such a great importance because its answer is needless to say and obvious. Because if you try to convince me that feminism is not a war against men, it's pretty much like saying 1 + 1 is equal to the square root of the logarithm of -1 divided by pi squared plus 10, which is equal to 3, by the way. See, you just keep diving into complexities and stupid arguments to come up at the end with a conclusion which is totally false. And I am here, luckily, to prove that. So you may ask, what's wrong with feminism and all this stuff? Well, the problem with modern feminism is that feminists have equal opportunities to men. Well, at least in the Western world, but it's unneeded here. Because feminists are equal, but don't know that. And they keep trying to be oppressed and try to find some ways to justify their existence. And the result, they create lies, they create false accusations of rape, for example, they rationalize madness, and they bring more harm to us men. And instead of helping women in other countries that are actually oppressed and need help, they instead focus on the idea, on the right to run around topless or a catastrophe. And that's one point. Another point is that feminists suppose that women are only the ones that are harmed and that men are benefit from this imbalance, while in the reality, men are both harmed. So feminism tries to fix that by addressing only the grievance of women, which doesn't fix any problem at all, but creates new ones. See, I told you, just feminism and people who defend it are just diving into stupid arguments and irrelevant ideas.
POI, please.
Yes.
So I'm sorry to intervene in your intervention once again, but I think that you are being extremely delusional. Because yes, men and women are harmed, but women are harmed more than men. More unemployment rate are more unemployed jobs are for women. More rapes are for women. And for you to come up here and tell this beautiful audience that and tell this beautiful audience that people are trying to mislead you by saying that rape isn't a real issue. I'm sorry. Also, you want sources. It's the United Nations, if you want the sources.
Okay, so to reply to you, I cannot deny that women and men are both harmed, but I am now defending that feminism doesn't care at all about men and cares about women. And just denies and suppose that, as I said, suppose that men are the ones that are benefiting from this imbalance, if you are listening. So another argument that feminists advance is the pay gap. And for that, I'll just go through a logical reasoning. Look, salaries are dependent on two criteria: the type of the job and the effort put into the job. Look, a firefighter gets automatically paid more than a secretary, and a teacher who works 6 days per week gets paid more than a teacher who works 3 days per week. And since we are talking about 3 days per week, sorry. So since we are talking about pay gap, we can't not mention the wonderful PewDiePie, and when he said that if women are actually paid less than men, then companies would only hire women because it costs less. Thank you, and subscribe to PewDiePie.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's debate is about a subject that has been controversial for many years. Feminism. A YouTube channel named Cut asked women aged 5 to 15 years old to describe feminism in one word, and all you can hear is respectful, strong, pretty awesome, essential, necessary, power, Hillary Clinton, women's right, true, judging, girly, cool, and misunderstood. None of them talked about hatred or war or even abhorrence towards men. Well, feminism has always been misunderstood as a concept because of people's stubbornness and selfishness. So my teammates and I are going to clarify and correct all the wrong ideas that some of you might have had or believed in. Well, feminism is not and will never be a war against men. To defend my position, we will start with the sole purpose of feminism. Since its first wave in the 19th century until now, feminism has always been about protecting women from the abuse, the sexual assault, the harm she was receiving from the society, the injustice, the inequality. Feminism was there to help women to get off their knees, to fight for their rights, and to help them define and achieve equal political, economic, personal, and social rights, so as creating equal opportunities in education and employment. A feminist advocates and supports the rights and equality of women. Feminism is not to be superior to men. It is just to be equal. So in short, feminism was here to give the women what they've been missing, not to fight men. Accepted?
So you were talking about the fact that feminism defends the equality between the two genders, right? Mm-hmm. Well, sorry to tell you, but you're wrong. This is not called feminism, but it's called humanism and equalityism. And it is the movement that defends the equality between not only genders but all individuals as humans. And if you keep thinking that this is a boy and this is a girl, instead of thinking that this is a human, you will always get stuck in gender inequalities.
Okay. Feminism has the concept you were saying. Feminism has as a concept humanism, and it's not, as you said, that men are different. Feminism is protecting men, such as it's protecting women, but precisely women to be equal to men. Knowing there are many rapes and sexual assaults not accepted, add to this fact that every female among us have been assaulted in the street, and it's been a daily occurrence. Feminism is here to build a better world for the future generation, so as it was 15 years earlier. Imagine a world where feminism doesn't exist. Would I be here? Would you be here? Would dark-skinned people break boundaries? Will a woman vote or even apply for a loan? Would women be a doctor, a lawyer, a president, a teacher, or an astronaut? Would society consider women as a person or as a human being such as man? Well, without feminism, none of this could have happened. I believe that feminism is a movement to liberate women and society from a world where men dominate every mainstream institution of power and influence politically and culturally. And I don't see anything in what I said or what my teammates said that is about fighting men more than it's being about striving toward gender equality from basic human rights all the way to equal payments. So why are you trying to convince people that feminism is a war against men? Thousands, let's just say millions of girls are suffering out there, waiting for a hope to help them, a hand to hold them, and someone to push them forward to carry on.
I am proud to be a female, and I know that we are strong. I do not need women parading themselves around topless and screaming vulgar terms to represent me. Come on, let's keep it classy, ladies. Oh, you know, I think I just grabbed your problems. I mean, no offense, but you are still stuck in the past. Don't you know there's a huge difference between feminism in the first and the second wave of feminism in which they fought for valuable rights that women deserved at that time, and this third wave of feminism, which is obviously a whole new world and a big catastrophe. I am truly ashamed of what feminism has become today. I feel like many women use it like a gun, use it like a thief uses a gun to get their way all the time. We're regressing, losing the man's respect. Reason demands respect that women before us worked so hard to earn, and I don't care. I am going to repeat myself again. So dear opponents, or should I call you dear feminists? We are not against what your movement once stood for. We are against what it has become. Anyways. You know, I didn't really have to look very hard to find examples about feminists that hate men. In 13 seconds on Google, I found this delightful collection of quotes written by feminists, of course, but my favorites would have to be this one. I quote, "To call a man an animal is to flatter him. He's a machine, a walking dildo." What a pleasing quote, isn't it? And I also found this article which really pissed me off. So this article basically announced a new law that says only men can be booked for rape. Only men can be booked for rape. Is that a joke? And the problem is that it's not the fault of the government. Yes.
Sorry. So you said that you are against the fact of what feminism became. You want to know what feminism...
Sorry,
You said that you aren't against feminism, you are the idea of feminism, you are against what feminism has become.
Yes.
You want to know what feminism has become? It has become a movement that gave women the right to, gave women the right to drive, to have a driving lesson in Saudi Arabia. It became a movement that gave the right to women in Afghanistan to go out without their mahram. Please, I'm talking to you. It has become, It has become a movement that made gender pay gap less in all Western countries and now in Eastern countries. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm kind of angry because you wasted my time. I do think that this is topless. First, because the Prime Minister talked about the countries that concern feminism, which are Western countries, and not Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia. And the drive-in lessons that you are talking about concerns the first and two wave of feminism, not this modern feminism. Thank you. I wanted to say, I was talking about the article I found that says there is a new law that says only men can be booked for rape. And I said that the problem is it's not the fault of governments. It's the pressure. It's about the bowing to pressure of those feminists, which is a shame. I mean, how are you fighting rape by making it legal for one gender to commit it? Rape shouldn't be a gendered issue. Rapists can be male or female. Rape victims can be male or female. Just because statistics show that female are more often the victim doesn't make the other rapes any less valid. Thank you.
Feminism is the radical notion that women are human beings. Said Kers Kramray. Dear audience, dear judges, dear government team, good morning. Here I am again behind this podium to talk with you about these women. These women who will be always a part of your life. That mom who sold you in right and bad choice. That mom who was supporting you during 9 months on her belly and who's never complaining because she loves you more than anyone else. I am here to talk about this teacher who keeps encouraging you and helping you for building a peaceful year. For helping you and building a peaceful future. I am here to talk about this sister with who you're also fighting but who loves you above all. I will speak on behalf of all women. I am here to defend their rights and mine. And certainly it does not mean that I want to declare a war against men. Emma Watson said once that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with men hating. This has to stop. And she's right, because I had already seen some misunderstanding of the word feminism in the government side. And please, don't tell me that hating men does not mean a war against them, because before each war begins a hatred. So, dear audience, let's play a game. I'll describe you a person, and you have to guess who I am talking about. So, let's start. While her husband's been doing his task, she has been creating her own legacy, including the Let Girl Learns initiative started in March 2015. The idea of it is to help to educate the 62 million girls around the world who aren't in school. And she said that she is a feminist idol on her book, The Atlantica. Did you guess who I am talking about, dear audience? Yes. I am talking about Michelle Obama, the ex-first lady of America. This woman who sacrificed law to defend women's rights. She has constantly stood up for women, and their education has been a constant part of her time as first lady. Sorry. She has constantly stood up for women. But the most important thing that she was always supporting her husband and supported by him. And not taken. And she had never stopped being a loving wife towards him. So, I see some faces there who are telling me that Michelle Obama is an American woman. Without this idea that a woman is a woman, American, Italian, if a Moroccan or even Spanish, but it's okay. I'll give you some Moroccan example. So, dear audience, let's play the second round of that game. And don't forget to guess who I am talking about. I am a woman. I want to live in peace. I want to escape this torture that is inflicted on me. I am not allowed to work because I am a girl. I want to be a doctor. I want to rescue life of people, but I can't because I am a girl. I am 15 years old and I have 2 boys. I was forced to marry to an old man to help financially my parents. Again, because I am a girl.
sorry. I'm not allowed to enjoy my childhood, and I wish I could change this world. I am talking about my grandma's story. It is also the story of hundreds of women in the past who were simply asking for their rights. Sorry. It's also the story of hundreds of women in the past who were simply asking for their rights without the intention of hurting anyone. Thank you.
Dear opposition whip, you said that we were being delusional. Believe me, I don't need to talk to Hitler so I can know that Nazis are bad, and I surely don't need to talk to feminists so I can know that they are bad to men. Dear opponents, dear audience, dear opponents, feminism is about equality. Oh, I saw that movie. What a wonderful storyline. When I heard the definition of feminism at first, I was like, yeah, it's such an interesting movement. You know, I believe in equality between sexes. I mean, of course I do, but it changed. The more I researched about the movement, the more I saw how mainstream media portrayed it, the more I saw how the feminists would defend aggressively their side as if they're having a war, a one-sided war against the men population. And I discovered that there's a whole world hidden by these feminists where men suffer. There's a lot of men issues that men in our current society do suffer in disproportionate amounts that are always overlooked. You know, no one talks about the suicide rate, no one talks about the homelessness rate for men, no one talks about the homicide victims of men. And I just want to clarify that I'm not here to support neither men or woman position. I am here because I do believe if this whole movement is here to make sure that men are female, are equal, are in the same pace, why men's groups are continually vilified? Falsely referred as hate groups, enemies, and their voices are silenced. Why they keep painting them as monsters, evil, sexist, and super... declined, refused. Why they keep painting them as evil, monsters, sexist and super radical men hater? Why are they having this war even they know that there are also so many men inequalities and they just keep ignoring them? And I'm going to say it again, men do suffer in our current society, and the proof is just what I'm going to tell you. What about sentencing disparity, life expectancy, child custody, child support, false rape allegations, criminal court bias, misandry, failure launched, boys falling behind their education, rape, homelessness, veterans issues, infant male genital mutilation, lack of parental choice once the child is conceived. I mean, all these heartbreaking issues, and still women, they just keep screaming and shouting that they are only real victims, blaming and accusing all men that they are the responsible of all these incidents. And this movement has had so much impact and still has that impact that these feminists have been brainwashed. They start to display the true public opinion on their ideology. They disregard any scientific argument unless the conclusion was on their side. And they look to anything to back it up, no matter how trivial and unreliable or discredited. Thank you.
Members of the jury, my beloved audience, Assalamu alaikum. Now, Deputy Prime Minister, I want to say something. Nice joke, nice Facebook joke, by the way. You said that's what's the difference between you and the pencil. Okay, do you want to know what's the difference between us and an eraser? An eraser erases writings. We will erase your ideas. Also, on a more serious note, one thing that you should know and that you must know is that we aren't stupid, nor are we dumb. We know for sure that there are some bad, self-proclaimed feminists, but those don't represent feminism, as terrorists don't represent Islam, and as you don't represent the truth. Simple as that. Also, throughout this debate, I felt sad. Because I came to realize the people that I'm debating against. I came to realize that I'm debating against beautiful ladies. Not you, apart from you, Mr. the Deputy Prime Minister. I came to realize that I'm debating against one intelligent, handsome fellow debater, and 3 beautiful and smart ladies, whom are saying bad things about feminism, whom are happening to say wrong things about feminism. Misleading, false accusation about feminism. The same movement wants nothing but the best for you. The same movement wants nothing but for you to have a brighter future. The same movement wants nothing but for you to have the opportunities that you deserve. Also, what you must know, once again, is that we aren't defending the feminism of a girl called Mina that lives next door and keeps on bragging about how she has the right to shave her legs, her armpits, her tights, her mustache. No, we don't care about that. Take a step back, relax, deep breath, inhale, exhale, look at the bigger picture. Feminism came to assure you the rights that you deserve, ladies in the audience. Feminism came to give you the opportunities that you owe to society. That's what feminism came for. And what we are defending, my comrades and I, is the feminism of Michelle Obama, Harvard graduate, the feminism of Caroline Forrest, French-educated journalist, the feminism of Emma Watson, activist and philanthropist. I hope that you knew that. Now, what you must know is that most of the population are women, and us depriving ourselves from more than the half of the population would be us depriving ourselves from our economies to grow, from half the power of our economies. Now, what I would want you to know is that you could say that feminism, that you are a humanist. Yes, for sure. When you hear it, it sounds good. But let me tell you something. Feminism is a part of humanism. Feminism is a part of humanism. So when you say that women and men men have problems. Yeah.
So basically, in your speech, I noticed that what you are saying is that you are just ignoring our arguments and the fact that the fact that we have advanced in our speeches and our statistics. And you just keep painting, as we say, so we need true facts and some concrete ideas and arguments to support your ideas that you're saying.
Okay, that's really good, but I think that this is purely egotistical to say that you have the right, that you are true to yourselves. Because I am not the only debater in this debate. If you heard really well my comrades, you wouldn't say that. And when we gave you the sources, you tried to act like you didn't hear them. No. I hope that you made up your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, everything is laid down in front of you. You can either choose my right, where no argument is left, or you can choose my left, where everything is right. Thank you.
Dear opposition whip, actually we were hearing you, but we didn't find any answers. And dear leader of the opposition, actually I do not agree with the definition you gave for feminism, because feminism is first and foremost a woman's rights movement, and it always has been. So it exclude men, and if it was really for the equality between men and women, we wouldn't have another movement called egalitarianism and humanism. I mean, we wouldn't have two words that would express the same thing. And you said that a woman's job is giving birth, but you seem to be forgetting that we have women that are teachers, doctors, engineers, pilots, and so on. And according to statistics, 75% of mothers are actively working a full-time job, or at least looking for one. So don't say that a woman's job is only giving birth. And dear member of the opposition, you just kept on saying this is a mother and sister and teacher, but you seem to be forgetting that we have men in our society. And that we have men in our society, and we have a brother that loves his sister, a male teacher that loves his student, and a father that loves his father. So don't tell me, and the equality can never be realized, because I mean, we realized equality in the Western world at least. So saying that equality will be realized, it's just a myth because men are in the Western world, men are already equal to women. Of course, we will have some differences between because of the gender, but after all, we are in the Western world, women are equal to men. Thank you.
So as an answer for what the Prime Minister said, you said that you didn't agree with my definition, so basically you are not agreeing with the definition of Wikipedia and reliable sources. That's why you said. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. So in this intervention, I would like to put the point on two things. First, I would like to ask you, dear audience, some questions. Who doesn't like to have his rights and to be treated fairly? So nobody. Who wants to be respected and who wants to be treated equally? Yeah, most of us. You see this, dear government team, and I'm pretty sure that you also have the same answer because this is something that nobody can deny. What you also know is the same case for feminism. Feminism doesn't demand that much. It demands rights and equality, and it certainly doesn't demand fighting men. Feminism, I'm sorry. It demands for all the things that will help you or in general will help us in our life. I think I proved my point on this one. Second of all, I want to talk about a man whose name is Wave Davis. So as you heard, he is a man and he is feminist. And here our dear opponents are telling us that feminism is a war against men. So the question is, why would a man be a feminist if feminism is a war against men and it's bad for them? And all the things that you cited. I'll let you think about my question, and thank you.
So, to come back to my point in my first speech, if you are able to tell me about one woman and one man that have the same job, that work the same hours in their job and put the same effort in their job, but don't have the same salary, I don't know, I'll just start worshipping cows. And since we are talking about reality and not just supposing things, I'm going to give you a little example of women that harmed men. According to BBC News, in Ohio, a girl falsely accused her teacher of sexual harassment because the student left the classroom and she stayed with the teacher. The teacher was nearly sentenced to 5 years of prison, and the girl then claimed on Facebook that she did an act of feminism. And just to make this simple, let's just sit down and explain this in a very scientifically and simple way. Look, fact number one, women and men are both harmed. And just to tell you, men are also mostly harmed from unemployment, from false accusations, and the men are the ones that are defending you sitting right there by the military service. And fact number two, feminism is based on the fact that only women are harmed, not men. And from one and two, we conclude that feminism is a war against men. Thank you.
Prime Minister, I wanted to say that what you said about there are women who are like engineers and doctors. I said without feminism, this would never happen. And you said that my friend, leader of the opposition, said that women are just birth machines. But she said that without feminism, women were considered as birth machines. Thank you. And so, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, you said that men are also harmed. We know this, and we're not talking about if men are harmed or not. We're talking about feminism. Is it a war against men? And there is humanism who defends such women and men's right too. Okay, thank you. I think that the misunderstood thing is that men takes independent women as a war against them, but I, as a feminist, I am not trying to fight men, neither to create a war against them, not at all. I I just think that men are not a necessity, they are a luxury. Like dessert, yeah, men are absolutely not a necessity. But I adore desserts. I love men. I mean, I think men are the coolest, but you don't really need them in your life. You could be the woman you want to be, or you can be the woman you want to be without a man. My mom said to me once, you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. I said, Mom, I am the rich man. So stop saying that feminism is fighting for the superiority. It is only to be equal. And if you still think that feminism is a war against men, well, let me tell you that there are thousands, let's say, maybe millions of men that are feminists, and how could it logically be possible that a man defends something that is going to hurt him? I totally agree with the fact that women and men are indeed not the same biologically, but doesn't stand in the way of them being equal in society. If you believe in any of the following rights that a woman should be, then, okay.
You know, I am really pissed off of repeating things again and again and again. I said that we're not the. I said that you are just. We are not denying the qualities of feminism. Yes, it helped to have the right to drive, to have the right to vote, but it's not like this anymore. I realized I just noticed you were always relating feminism with all of that equality thing, and I was like, what? If feminism is about equality, what do they vilify and advocate violence against men? Because yes, men got beaten and injured because of that movement. Why do you actively protest and disrupt men's issues conferences? Why do they stigmatize all men as potential wife beaters and rapists? Why do they try to get men banned from certain places on campuses? Is it for equality? I don't think so. You know, I can give you more and more examples, but I don't have time, as I can see. But to summarize all what I've said, in just one quote, I would say, feminists want the power of men, the privileges of women, and the responsibilities of neither. Thank you.
Their opponents, since the beginning of the debate, you couldn't stop saying that feminism is a war against men without knowing the reason of the parution of what we call feminism. So, their opponents, open your ears and pay attention to what I'm going to say. When I hear feminism, the first thought that came into my mind is that feminism came to help erase this phenomenon of sexism that we still have everywhere. According to Wikipedia, sexism refers to all prejudices and to all prejudices or discrimination based on sex or by extension of the gender of a person. And as I said before, the reason of the parution of feminism is sexism. Feminism came to give women the value that she really deserves. It come to give her the rights that belongs to her. Feminism came to let women have this feeling that they are a human being and not just an object to appease men's sexual thirst. No. Feminism came to let women have the... No.
So, as you said, dear Deputy Leader of the Opposition, that you don't care about the males' issues and you're not talking, and all these feminists, they're not talking about men's issues. So why, dear Leader of the Opposition, when you said the definition of feminism, you've claimed that feminism is equality between genders, and then after that, you stood up and then you said, no, we're not talking about males' issues. So why are you denying the fact that feminists, they just care about women. They just care about controlling everything. They don't want now the equality, but they want the superiority. They want to control everything. and they want to be superiors, they want to be masters and bosses and degrade men. No, we're here for equality between genders. And I am a woman. I love being a strong woman. I was raised by a strong woman and a strong man. Why you keep denying that you're just raised by just strong women? Thank you.
So, first of all, we would like to apologize for the inconvenience that happened. It's just that we had so many points to prove our position, but time couldn't let us do it. So this is why we had so much problems. And you know what? All the sadness that I had in my first intervention all went away. Now I became happy. Thank you. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because my prediction on the first intervention that you had no arguments left were right. Because, let me tell you something, you only kept talking about how men are also have problems. Yes, men have problems, as women have problems, as animals have problems, come on. I hope that you understood my point. Yes, we all have problems in this world, but what you must know is that our position is that feminism isn't a war against men. Also, you didn't answer my question that I made in the first POI. That's also an important thing. So, according to United Nations, according to Wikipedia, our position seems to be correct. Thank you to all of you.